I hope you all had a lovely holiday. I personally spent my vacation with a bunch of rednecks talking about how much they can't stand non-whites. So I spent as much time as I could hiding from the rednecks and watching Cartoon Network holiday specials upstairs. So yeah, here's what I think about them. Well, might as well take the very worst one first. I mean, good God, this has got to be like my least favorite Christmas special of all time. Like, it's not just that it's bad, it's like they show it 3 times a day, every day, because, just showing it once isn't awful enough. It's like Cartoon Network has a minimum crap quota that they meet, so they figure that if they just shovel this garbage into our screaming upturned faces, they can reach that quota as quickly as possible. Calling this thing a movie doesn't even sound fair. It's like calling this thing a movie is doing it too much good. Like, I don't even want to call it a joke or an experience. It's that bad. So I'll just refer to Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer as a thing. The first thing that grabbed me when I was watching this thing is that the writing's even more cliche than an action hero putting on sunglasses as he walks away from an explosion. Or, cliche like just a bad movie. Anyway, whatever world-class intellect decided to make this movie in the first place, I really am proud of him in one thing. He wasn't going to make a movie with some good things and some bad things. He was going to make a movie with some bad things and then some more bad things. So, at least you can't fault him for being inconsistent. And he decided that the only way to make the movie as bad as possible all around was to scale the entertainment value as somewhat less than Total Drama Island entertainment. Now, upon reflection, I think I might be onto something with the whole Cartoon Network crappiness quota thing. Maybe there's some kind of conspiracy thing going on here, and Cartoon Network commissioned this movie so that they could just show it over and over to reach that quota major quickly. Oh yeah, and on top of everything else, this movie has to be a musical, too. And I've never been one for musicals myself, but I can safely say that any chance of the genre ever meaning anything to me has been shot through the heart right now ever since I started watching this terrible thing. Like, here's how bad the musical numbers are. It's like if you walked into a Rolling Stones concert, but the Rolling Stones don't want to come out. So what they're doing is they're playing Justin Bieber through the speakers until everyone gets frustrated and runs away. Although, to be fair, the Rolling Stones scenario would be a lot more disappointing, because to be disappointing, you have to have actual expectations, and God knows I have no expectations for this movie! This movie makes me really sad. Alright, time to offset that last awful movie with an actually good one, the Billy and Mandy Holiday Special. Now let me just make one very clear and simple opening statement for all you out there. I freaking love this show. It's one of the few programs out there on Cartoon Network that appeals to both teens and kids. That's because the humor was dark for the teens, but still dumb enough for the kids to enjoy. Anyway, the special is up to the show's usual quality. The humor is dark, and the situation is over the top, as always. And most importantly, the Grim Reaper's still Jamaican. The show would not be awesome if the Grim Reaper was not Jamaican. The basic premise is Santa's been turned into a vampire, and Billy and Mandy must kill the head vampire to return Santa Claus to normal. It's like Elf with Will Ferrell meets Hellsing, kinda. Here's how much I like this movie. There's literally only one complaint that I could possibly make for it, and that's that the movie peaks in about the first 15 minutes or so. The movie gradually gets less and less funny as it goes on. Like, still, it's one of my favorite holiday specials regardless. It's like a friend calls you up and says to get dressed up for an expensive dinner party thing. However, once he picks you up, you realize you're just going to Panda Express. Like, it's still good, but you're disappointed because your initial impression was better. But as I said, it's still one of the best holiday specials ever. Alright, next is Ed, Edd n Eddy's Jingle Jingle Jangle. Yeah, I guess it's alright. So, the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends holiday special. I never really did like this show much. Like, the initial pilot thing they showed before the whole TV series was released was kind of alright, I guess. But the rest of the show was just bland. Kind of like eating sandpaper, but with less internal bleeding afterwards. This is also one of my least favorite kind of Christmas specials, because it's not trying to tell you anything, like Respect Your Fellow Man in the Ed, Edd n Eddy one, or teaching you how to beat up burglars like the first Johnny Bravo Christmas special. It doesn't even teach you how to kill a vampire like in Billy and Mandy. No, this special... All this special teaches us is to believe in Santa. That's it. Alright, so maybe it's just my own personal hatred towards the idea of Santa because every year I get a bag of coal with a note attached that says, "Stop being so wrathful," which handwriting which is just so weirdly like my own grandma's, and, wait, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Anyway, this special's moral alone makes me hate it. Like, the plot's not so special anyway, because all the episodes of this show are probably written by a 6-year-old hooked up to an IV full of liquidized pixie sticks or something. So yeah, it's boring, it's nothing you haven't seen before, and weird. But not in like a kind of funny Adventure Time kind of way weird, it's weird in a just kind of weird way. When people ask me what my favorite shows on Cartoon Network were as a kid, like, excluding all the animes they showed on Toonami, I always told people my favorite Cartoon Network shows were Billy and Mandy, and Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo is so awesome that it has 2 Christmas specials, so I'll just go ahead and do them in order. Alright, so the first one, I haven't actually seen this one in about 2 or 3 years, but I still remember it pretty vividly. Basically, Santa Claus comes in Christmas night, and Johnny Bravo thinks he's a burglar, so he beats the crap out of Santa. And upon reflection, saying he was a burglar was the same excuse I made when I was arrested for assaulting a mall Santa last month. I'd like to go into more detail, but that's pretty much it. Just Johnny Bravo beating up Santa. Go see it, it's probably on YouTube somewhere, it's pretty funny. And if you, like me, have a totally rational hatred of Santa, you'll get a kick out of it. At the end of the day, though, the first Johnny Bravo Christmas special didn't kick up that much dust. It was only treated like a normal episode, so it was only like 10 minutes long. So, to compensate, the second holiday special was treated with a lot more... well, they kind of treated it with a lot more everything that's good. It's longer, it's funnier, and it takes the piss out of Donny Osmond. And for those of you who don't know who Donny Osmond is, he's essentially the 20th century equivalent to Justin Bieber. The story goes, Johnny Bravo forgot to mail his letters to Santa, so he takes the letters to Santa personally, and then Donny Osmond shows up. And it's funny. I like to fantasize that in 20 years, Justin Bieber's career will consist entirely of cameoing on cartoon shows that secretly take the piss out of him. So yeah, those are all the specials that played semi-often during this holiday season, and children of the internet, just remember that before you analyze anything I say, just remember I'm one of those people who never learn the true meaning of Christmas. Happy New Year.